Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Srinvata Swakata Krishna Punyashravana Kirtanaha Hrudayantasto hi abhadrani vidunoti shuhutsutam nastapprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavate uttamasloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. Good morning, everyone. I'm reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, continuing from chapter 4. Canto 4, chapter 16, verse number 6. वसुकाल उपादत्ते काले चैवं विमुञ्चति समः सर्वेषु भूतेषु प्रतपन् सूर्यवद्विभुः वसुकाल उपादत्ते काले चैवं विमुञ्चति समः सर्वेषु भूतेषु प्रतपन् सूर्यवद्विभुः Vasu reaches Kale in due course of time. Upadatte exacts Kale in due course of time. Cha also. Ayam, this king, Prutu, Vimunchanti, returns. Samaha, equal. Sarveshu to all. Bhuteshu, living entities. Pratapan, shining. Suryavat, like sun god. Vibhuhu, powerful. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki Jai. The, this King Pratu will be as powerful as the sun god, and just as the sun god equally distributes his sunshine to everyone, King uh, King Pratu will distribute his mercy equally. Similarly, just as the sun god evaporates water for 8 months and during the rainy season returns it profusely, this king will also exact taxes from the citizens and returns those monies in times of need. Hare Krishna. Purport. The process, the process of tax exaction is very nicely explained in this verse. Tax exaction is not meant for sense gratification of the so-called administrative heads. Tax revenue should be distributed to the citizens in times of need, during emergencies such as famine or flood. Tax revenue should never be distributed amongst government servants in the form of high salaries and various other allowances. In Kali Yuga, however, the position of citizens is very horrible because taxes are exacted in so many forms and are spent for the personal comforts of the administrators. The example of the sun in this verse is very appropriate. The sun is many millions of miles away from the earth. And although the sun doesn't actually touch the earth, it manages to distribute land all over the planet, but by exacting water from the oceans and seas, and it also manages to make that land fertile by distributing the water during the rainy season. As an ideal king, King Prutu would execute all the business King Prutu would execute all this business in the village and state as expertly as the sun. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschata Desatarani Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Brunda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I humbly like to seek blessings from all the assembled Vaishnavas and thank you for giving me an opportunity to purify my heart and please forgive me for any of my shortcomings. I listened to the lecture from Gauranga Darshan Prabhuji, and also I gathered the information on this topic and related topics from this book, Bhagavata Sabodhini. I heard a lecture also from His Grace Rupanga Dasa. He was giving this a seminar on a topic on this topic for at a GLB University. It's for students on leadership. So this is purely if you look at it in a real world, this is a leadership class about how to run, how to execute kind of things. In this section of Srimad Bhagavatam, describes King Prithu as a function of devatas. Actually, it starts from verse 6 and goes all the way to the verse 14. Um, it talks about how Prithu will act as different devatas. In this verse, for example, uh, King Prithu was compared to Surya Dev, where Surya Dev evaporates the water for 8 months and releases water for 4 months in this monsoon. Whereas King Prathu Maharaj exacts taxes from the citizens and releases them in times of need. In the next verse, Bhumi, how the function, Bhumi is the functions to tolerate, whereas King Prithu Maharaj, out of his causeless mercy, he forgetfully and forgiving them to persons who trample over his head. So there are so many avatars. And quickly, I want to say, comparing to Indra, where Indra supplies rains, Prithu Maharaj supplies rains where there is no rainfall. Whereas Chandra, where the function is to please the world with his cooling rays, Prithu Maharaj pleases the world with his affection glances. So comparable, what a beautiful comparison of different devatas, how the function was done, and this how Prithu Maharaj run the kingdom, as Varna there, where Varna Deva's function is to glorious and hides the valuables. Prithu Maharaj keeps his policies, activities, methods of success, and he hides all of them and treasures confidentially. He doesn't share. So several things: Chandra, Varuna, Agnidev, Vayudev. And how did Dharma? So there is comparison of how in all the verses where how devatas perform that, and how similarly how Prithu Maharaj did that, executing this his kingdom in a dharma way, be neutral to either of his own or punishing for misbehaving, or the sons of an enemy releasing if they're innocent. So he ran the kingdom in a dharmic way. Going back a little bit more details. As I mentioned, one of the things I heard is it's a good class about leadership. King Prithu, as described in Srimad Bhagavatam, exemplifies an ideal leader whose governance mirrors the qualities and responsibilities of the sun god. As the sun god sustains life through the cycle of evaporation and rain, King ruled with a focus on maintaining balance and ensuring the prosperity of his kingdom. His leadership provides a timeless example how rulers should function to sustain and nurture their citizens. See how beautiful it is actually. All these things were written so many years ago, and as a normal persons, we could not imagine what to expect, and they expected exactly how the situation looks like, and we are learning as a leadership class. And um, reflecting sun's duties, the sun god plays a pivotal role in the cosmetic order by regulating the water cycle. He evaporates water during 8 months of the year and releases it in the form of rain for 4 months during the monsoon. This balance ensures the continuity of life on earth. Similarly, King Prithu collects taxes from his own citizens not for personal gains, but as a means to build resources. These resources will be redistributed during the times of need, such as drought or calamities, like what is happening right now in California. Right now, is a wildfire, reflecting the sun's principle of giving it back in time. So the role of a leader is to collect taxes and paid back during calamities. This is also very well described in Bhagavad Gita 3.14, and which is already explained in the previous verse as well. It starts Annad Bhavanti Bhutani uh, Parjanyat Anna Sambhavaha. And this talks about all the living bodies depends on food grains, which are produced from the rains. And rains are produced by the performance of sacrifices, and the sacrifices is the born of prescribed duties. King Prutu upheld the principle by ensuring that the wealth collected through the taxes are utilized to enhance the well-being of citizens, thus maintaining the cycle of prosperity. Um, Again, when looking at the in another angle of leadership, there are many ways of looking at the same situation on leadership. Uh, there is impartiality and generosity. The sun shines equally upon all, without any discrimination, whether you're in a majestic palace or in a humble hut. The sun provides its light and warmth to everyone. King Prutu embodied this quality in his rule. Um, a leader like the sun should rise above the personal biases and focuses on collective welfare of the people to serve. King Prithu exemplified this through his actions and decisions, which prioritize the greater good over individual interest. In another angle of looking at the same thing with like a sun god is about discipline and precision. The sun god operates with precision and discipline, rising and setting at the same time at the appointment time. Each day. Rising and setting at the appointed time, not the same time. Sorry, apologize. Each day. This reliability is essential for maintaining the rhythms of life. King Prutu governed with the same sense of discipline. He ensured that taxes were collectively, systematically collected, and these resources were utilized efficiently. His governance was marked by transparency and accountability, traits that are essential for sustaining a prosperity society. Um, in Bhagavad Gita, there is a resemblance of doing this one in a very famous sloka. Everybody, if they know one sloka, they will know this one. I'll try to chant that. You know, Karmanye Vadikarasye Ma Paleshu Kadachana Ma Karma Phala Ma Karma Phala Heturbur Mate Sangotsa Karmani. It talks about you have a right to perform your prescribed duties, but you are not entitled to the fruits of the action. King Prithu performed his duties as a king without any attachment. This is very important. King Prithu performed his duties as a king without any attachment, focusing solely on the welfare of his subjects or the people. Much like the sun follows its celestial course without any deviation, they perform their duties without any expectations. This is something we have to learn as an abhyasi. Um, Also, another angle is to look at a source for inspiration. The sun god not only sustains life but also inspires growth and vitality. It provides energy and required for the plants to grow. Similarly, King Prutu was a source for inspiration for his citizens. Through his righteous conduct and selfless service, he motivated his people to follow the principles of dharma and contributed to the kingdom's prosperity. His leadership illuminated the path of righteousness for all. Uh, uh, since I heard this one from the lessons for the leaders, it says, what are the lessons for the leaders? Is just as the sunlight fosters growth, a leadership's wisdom and vision can uplift and inspire their followers. King Prutu's reign is a testament on transformative power of enlightened leadership. You know, um, there is one more point going back to evaporation rain. It is mentioned like the sun's process of evaporation and rainfall symbolizes a perfect balance between taking and giving. By drawing water from the earth and returning it to as a rain, the sun ensures the continuity life cycle. King Prutu adopted this principle in the administration um, by collecting and returning back in times of need, right? There's also, this is again in Bhagavad Gita, the 3.12 talks about the celestial gods. even though they're being satisfied by the performance of sacrifice, they will grant you all the desired necessities of life. But those who enjoy what is given to them without making offering in return are like thieves. They're like thieves, as described as Bhagavad Gita. So King Prithu ensured that the welfare of the kingdom was shared equally, with no one left in distress. In summary, King Prathu was a great leader who ruled his kingdom like a sun god takes care of the earth. Just like the sun gives light and warmth to everyone equally, King Prithu treated all his people fairly. He worked hard, stayed disciplined, and shared he worked hard, stayed disciplined, and shared resources equally. Even today, leaders can learn from King Prithu being selfless, fair, and responsible. They can brighten the lives of their others and help their communities grow and thrive, just like sun helps all the living beings on earth. We have so many unfortunate things, right, going on right now as we speak in California, and which we cannot control. There are so many yagnas and other things you can do in different yugas, but for Kali Yuga, um, the best one we can do is to counteract those unfortunate situations in this yuga. All we have to do, as mentioned by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is to chant Mahamantra, which is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I offer my respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnavas. I would like to end my summary with this note. Thank you, everyone, for giving me